Hey you guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Yelena again, and I'm going to do part 2 of my testimony. And if you have not seen the first one, it's just basically giving a background of our family and my parents' marriage in particular. So if you have not seen that first video, it'll be up here or up here. One of them. Anyway, I'm gonna go ahead and just jump right into it. So the last time that we had spoken, I was here talking to you guys. I believe my father had been arrested, and my dad was bailed out without our knowledge. No one knew that he had gotten bailed out. So probably a couple of days later, after he had gotten arrested, we were actually making a trip to go to the grocery store. My mother, my brother, and I. And so as we were making our way into the car to get ready to go, my dad comes out of nowhere and pushes my mom into the passenger seat where I was sitting, and he just drove off. So he just started driving, had no idea where he was going at that time. And my dad basically said, like, we're gonna be a family again, we're gonna be happy, me and your mom are gonna work things out, and we're gonna be one big happy family again. And where he was saying that, my mom is actually in the front seat, basically pleading with him to, let us go, and to basically talk about this and work this out without the kids getting involved. So we were in Georgia during this time when he drove off. We were living in Doraville, and he just kept driving until he basically ran out of gas, and that's where he ended up being in North Carolina. So when we head up to North Carolina, he stopped at a gas station. And my mom basically told my dad that it was time for us to go to the restroom. She wanted to make sure that we were, had to go. And so my dad let all of us go to the restroom. And so when my mom got inside, she just started yelling that, oh my gosh, we're in danger. My husband, he has taken us and kidnapped us, and we're in danger. Please help. We really need your help. And so that's when the store clerk told us to go hide in the restroom. So as we were hiding in the restroom, we can see my dad looking for us. And as he looked for us, he couldn't find us. And so he just basically took the car and left. So when the police came, my dad was nowhere to be found. He had already been gone. And we are basically having to go back home. But of course we didn't have any vehicle. So what happened is, the police officer took us to get something to eat at McDonald's. And then we were taken on a Greyhound to go back to Georgia. So when we left to come back home, my mom decided that it was best for me and my brother to move back to Louisiana. And so when we moved back to Louisiana, we had no contact with my dad's family at all during that time. which is completely understandable, of course. And so, and also very hard to say the least, because both my mom and my dad's side live in Shreveport, Louisiana. So just to give you a background as well. So we ended up staying with my grandparents, my mom's parents, during the time when my dad was still on the loose. He was still on the run. No one could find him at that time. And he was just basically, on the run. So while we were actually in Louisiana, my mother was staying in Georgia still, just trying to get her, trying to get back on her feet. Because what happened was, my father had taken all of the money out of their account. So my mother was actually stuck with no money in the account. And that it resulted in her losing the home that we were staying in during that time. My mom also did not have a vehicle because my dad took the car when he took us, and of course when he was on the run. So that meant that my mom had to live in extended stays for a good bulk of her time while she was here, until she was able to save up and then finally have a place for us to stay. And while she was also staying in extended stays, of course, she had to take the bus to her job, where she would be able to go to work on a regular basis. But I did want to mention an instance that happened to me while I was in Louisiana and my dad was nowhere to be found yet. The police had not found him yet. So what happened was, I was a young child in elementary school. At the time, I had to be about 7 years old. And I was not supposed to have any contact with my dad or his family, which was actually quite difficult because during that time, as a young girl, I looked exactly like my father. And so, looked exactly like him, that it was pretty scary. That's how much I resembled my dad when I was much younger. Same eyes, nose, lips, both dark skin, almost like on there, everything. So, there was a time when I was in school, I was actually on my way to class, when I found a man that just came up to me, and he said, "Hey, are you Gregory Rashton's daughter?" And I looked confused and was like, "Yeah, I am." And that's when he said, "Oh, he's been looking for you and trying to find you. And we've been really scared and worried and concerned and just wondering if I can just take you to him just to make sure that you're okay." And so during that time, I was really scared. I was really confused all at the same time. But I just remember my family telling me that I was supposed to have no contact with his family or at all. So of course I said no. And I basically, tried to get away from him as as fast as I can, because he actually started following me. And you know, I was just really scared during that time, and I probably haven't even told a lot of people about this situation. Of course my mom knows, but you know, a young girl being approached about, you know, my father's trying to find me, trying to see me, and I was supposed to have no contact with my dad at all. I was not supposed to be having any contact with his family. So that is actually the huge part of the story, and it's going to be even bigger parts of this testimony, but I just want to stop right here because I didn't want the video to be too long. But just to give you a recap, my dad was bailed out, and then he also took us, kidnapped us, even though technically it wasn't kidnapping, because he had full custody of me and my brother. But of course we were held, I guess you could say we were held hostage, because you know, we were taken against our own will. So, and then also we ended up being in North Carolina gas station, where the police was called, and we ended up hiding in the bathroom. And we moved back into Louisiana while my mom was here, living in extended stays and riding the bus for transportation since she didn't have any. And of course, the situation when my dad's family member approached me when I was at school. So that is the end of this video, and you will see another one next week. So yeah, this is the most consistent I have been on this channel, so I'm proud of myself. But I really want to thank you guys for just watching this with me and just going along with this story. And I hope that you guys are blessed, and I love you all. Good night.